Welcome, KEXP Live at Home. It's my honor to introduce the Delvon Lamarr Organ Trio. Welcome back, y'all.
What up? What up, y'all?
Let's take it away. Brand new album, I Told You So, out now. It's great to have y'all back.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having us. Lamarr organ trio here. Jimmy James on the guitar, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Weiss on the drums, ladies and gentlemen. And I am your humble public service announcer, Delvon Lamarr here. That was a tune on our I Told You So album that's entitled Aces. We're about to play a tune from that same album. This is entitled From the Streets. What? gentlemen. that's going to be on our next album. It's going to be out sometime in the near future-ish. That was entitled Get the Steppin'. We're going to feature Mr. Jimmy James on this one. This one's titled Call Your Mom.
Okay, you ready? Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, hit it.
Man, thank y'all so much for that performance. It's great to see y'all here. It's my first time getting to interview all three of y'all, so I'm real excited. I would love to know just how you all got started in music originally. I know, Delvon, I know you had kind of an unusual start with the organ. It was love at first instrument or love at first play.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, but I've been playing music since as far back as I can remember. It was just kind of one of those things I would just pick up instruments and play. You know, I didn't have any like formal training or anything, but just pretty much any instrument I picked up, I can actually play it. So that was the real start.
Yeah. What were your first instruments?
Well, my first instrument was a baritone horn, and how that came about is when I was in junior high school. It was when you had to take one of those elective classes, and I ended up picking the piano because I didn't want to do cooking.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was guitar, and when I was in that band room, I saw this horn on the floor. I said, "Oh, I can play that." The band teacher was like, "Good, I'll put you in band," and so he did. And I picked that thing up for the first time, and I literally played it, but I couldn't read music, so I was just copying the dude next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the start of that.
Man, I read that your older brother is a hip hop artist that I know, Tyrone.
Oh yeah, yep, that's my brother.
Yeah, how did hip hop and even Tyrone being your brother have an impact?
Oh man, my brother's been into hip hop since he was like 15. He's 4 years older than me, so he was 15. He had a little drum machine, a little sampler back in the day, and he used to do that. And I used to try to be like him. I wanted to be a rapper. That didn't work out so well. I had no lyrical skills whatsoever. But yeah, man, he's still doing it too. You know, he mostly produces now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tyrone. Let's go to you, Dan, the newest member of Delvon Lamarr Organ Trio. How'd you get started?
I was just always kind of banging on stuff when I was a kid. Like my dad always had a bunch of like Latin percussion instruments around, so like a guido and a shaker and cowbells on and stuff. So I was always kind of banging. And then they bought me like a little kid like Toys R Us drum set when I was probably 5. And I played that till it fell apart, and then they were like, all right, I guess we should get you a real drum set and some lessons. And so I kind of started taking actual lessons on a real drum kit when I was about 8 years old. And then here I am now at 32, still playing. So I must have liked it. Yeah.
Love to see it. And then my man Jimmy James, who I've known forever with the guitar.
Oh man.
How'd you get started, brother?
Shoot, I started playing drums because my sister had a drum set. And funny thing is, she had a picture of me in my tidy whites on the kit, which I will never share to social media.
I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Don't worry about it. I won't do it. But I heard she was playing drums, so I would bang away on the drums. Then guitar really came like after I heard, a certain. I heard My Girl. And I heard Second Than Emotion, man, that really got me into guitar. But my sister also had like a little beat up acoustic guitar that would sit around, so I would kind of mess with that. But I knew guitar was what I wanted to do, So, yeah.
I love it. You know what's crazy about that is, I never told anybody this, but My Girl by the Temptations was the first thing I learned how to play on the piano when I was a kid as well. So that's really interesting, man. That's dope. So you guys have had a phenomenal, I would say, last couple of years. And it's one that we don't really see for a lot of jazz, soul, funk bands out of Seattle. Certainly there's a deep, rich history of the music coming from here, but to play on a national and international stage and platform, the tours that you guys have done, it's kind of rare. What are some things that y'all have seen, and what are some things that have surprised you in your travels these last couple of years?
You want to go ahead? You shout out.
We'll split it.
Okay.
You say it first. I'll see what I come up with.
One of the things for me is, I've struggled so much in my musical career, kind of like, playing and kind of not going anywhere. So one of the big things is when we finally went to Europe, because I've always wanted to go to Europe. Like my whole life, I wanted to go to Europe, and I just never thought it would actually happen. So when we got there, I didn't really know what to expect. It was like I just thought, we'll just play some music and then go to the next. But it's the reception that we get every time we play in Europe is like, dude, it's another thing. I've never experienced that. And man, they just die hard, and it makes you feel good in the inside. A real sense of accomplishment, So I thank my wife for that, because without her, we wouldn't have. we still be in the basement.
Shout out to Amy.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say with that is that people like that time we were in Paris, and one of the guys shouted out one of our songs, "Close but No Cigar," and he was able to sing the line. You know what I mean? Like they request it and they can sing the song to you, and they know and the reception is just doing encores and stuff, and they're screaming out, "Play Tacoma Black Party, play that." And they know it so well.
You remember that time we did a show in France. It was a festival, and when we finished the song, I thought they were going to tear the stage down. It was
that was actually Spain.
It was Spain. Yeah.
We had to do 3 encores, and they were banging against the stage.
Yeah, that's right.
There was going to be a riot if we didn't play again.
Yeah, they were because our set was already over. They were like, "You guys better do another one," and they were literally
And they say if you don't do it, then there's going to be a riot. And so we ended up having to play.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the reception in Europe is it's another world, man. It's another world.
I gotta ask Jimmy this question. You probably know what I'm about to ask you, because we share a story of back in the day when we were younger musicians. It happened to both of us, but at different times. We were traveling separately. Of getting detained at the London Heathrow Airport. I don't know if you've talked about this in an interview before, but I'm just curious. Have you been able to go back to London specifically?
Yeah. And we go through Gatwick now.
Go through Gatwick now, yeah.
It was weird. It was weird, but I remember the first time we got to go through London. I was just yeah, man, this time, and I had never seen it because of that situation that happened so long ago, and it was just when we got in the car. Amy she got in a different side of the car than we were supposed to. We see the traffic going a different way. I'm like, whoa, this. And remember we almost crossed in front of traffic. You did and I did at separate times, and then we didn't look the other way, and the bus was like, I was like, oh.
Totally see how people get hit by cars over there. We're not used to that, man. Because I almost did it.
I did it once myself, so it was pretty funny though. But we got to understand it, and it was great, man, to actually go into London and play, and we did one of the singles off this record. Mm-hmm. We played there. That was a trip.
Yeah.
that makes my heart so happy to just know that you were able to get into that country in particular and play. Because man, I haven't tried to go back since getting detained and deported from London Heathrow. So that's big, man. That's huge. I'm so happy to hear that. I gotta ask, how has Seattle and Tacoma, how has this place shaped and informed your music?
Sounds like a Jimmy James question.
Well, you're
a Seattle historian.
Okay. I hear Seattle. I hear Seattle in your speech though, Delvon. Don't front. It's in you have a classic town accent, bro. Classic.
Well, because Delvon be like, "What up, y'all?" Yeah, it's crazy because, and I'll throw this out there. Now, my mother's cousin's husband and her cousin both went to school with Jimi Hendrix at Garfield. So they remember him, and Jimi Hendrix was in the first band with him. His name was Robert Green. He since passed 2 years ago. And I remember hearing stories about him, hearing stories about that, like when they played together. The other thing is my late sister, she used to play around Seattle in the 90s because she was good friends with like Kurt Cobain and people like that. So she knew that scene, like, back when the Phoenix Underground and Rock Candy and all those places and Off the Ramp in Seattle at the time in the like late 80s, early 90s.
What did she play?
She played drums.
Okay, wow.
She played drums in a group called Tribal Therapy.
Whew, I want to look that up. That sounds
And
amazing.
so, yeah, she used to play shows like Seattle Peace concerts, stuff like that. But she hung around on the scene. She was supposed to play with people like Ann and Nancy Wilson from Heart and Indigo Girls and Soundgarden and people like that. So she had been around on that scene, and a lot of people knew her, like from Fat City Smokehouse. They used to open up for them, Sting Shark and Davey C and all those people. So they remember her very well. And there's only like 2 clips of her playing on Facebook, So I used to like run around with her, as long as I stayed away from other things, but I always chased behind her because I would watch her play in certain situations. There's certain things I couldn't get in because I was too young, but other than that, I used to watch that. So she was a big influence. She was like, to me, like a super rock star, in that realm,
Yeah.
So that's what got me into it.
Yeah. What about the rest of y'all? Because you're representing Seattle on an international stage everywhere you go, whether you want to or not. You know what I mean? Like I'm curious, like how the city impacts and influences you.
Well, it's one of those things. Like there's such a rich history of music from Seattle, and it was growing up listening to all that stuff and actually knowing some of those guys. Like when I was young, my brother and my cousin, they used to kick it with Sir Mix a lot. And so, it like ever since like hip hop, when I was young, it's like, I don't know, it's a tough question for me to answer. But it's always been an influence, like all the Seattle cats and even Nirvana. Like we cover some of that stuff, man, just because this is where we are. It's where we come from. So
Yeah, Seattle's kind of crazy. I'm from Reno. I was raised in Reno. I used to live here for a while up in Seattle.
Okay.
And so it was kind of crazy coming from a place like Reno, where there's a good live music scene, but there's not a whole lot of venues. And coming up to Seattle and like having like your free McTuff like every Monday at the Sea Monster, and I used to go see Michael Shreve's Spellbinder at the time it was called Toast, and I used to go see like a bunch of free music. So it was pretty wild coming up here. And like having to choose like what you want to go see as far as music goes, and then it also like makes you step your game up a little bit because there's all these cats are hanging out at the bar while you're playing. So yeah, it's kind of Seattle's one of those places where it's surprisingly small, and the music scene is very, very close and small as well. So once you kind of immerse yourself in the music scene, you start meeting all these other people, and you realize how small the Seattle community is. So for me, it kind of makes me be on my game and on my toes because I know everybody's paying attention and listening and watching us. So yeah.
I also want to throw in one other thing. That we're also very isolated from everywhere else, because we're way up in the corner, which a lot of people don't come through here for touring as much. But also, and the other thing is it makes you keep yourself inside your house because, it rains and the funny thing, you can always tell when you're from Seattle, and I have to throw this out there though, you can always tell if somebody's born and raised in Seattle because they never wear an umbrella.
Ever.
If you wear an umbrella, that lets everybody know you're not from Seattle. That is true.
I forgot all about umbrellas.
It's true. It's so true.
It drizzles. It rains, but it's like you never wear an umbrella. And the other thing is, I got to throw this out here. I'm gonna be a bad person, but also I gotta say it though.
It's all downhill from here.
It's always called I-5 South, I-5 North, not the 5.
The 5, yeah.
Yeah. We just got to say that.
That's true. I never even thought about the second one. The first part of that though, yeah, that's so true. I think there was a blog or a website for a minute too called "Umbrellas Are for Tourists." I thought that was such a brilliant name. You know,
But
I gotta ask, how big is improvisation a part of your writing process when you're coming up with songs?
Delvon
Lamarr. Improvisation is pretty big with us because we write the melodies, and then pretty much from there, like, the gloves are off. Whatever happens. And one of the things we are known for is kind of bobbing and weaving through other tunes. Like, we'll start a song and we'll just kind of, hey, if Jimmy hears it or I hear it, I'll just do it. What was that one time we played a show? I think we were playing, was it Close But No Cigar? And somehow it turned into I Can't Go for that.
Yeah, that was at the party. We were playing Hall & Oates.
We've never played that song in history, but I was doing a solo, and then I was just like, I accidentally quoted that in the solo, and I was like, all right. So I just kind of turned the song around. I just started playing that bass line, and we just
he started playing
took it a whole nother direction.
He started playing it. I was like, wait a minute, what's that? I said, is he playing Hall & Oates? I was like. I was like, oh, and then somehow he looked at me. He's like, hey, he played the part. And he's like, you know the saxophone solo part? And I was like, oh, I'll know in 10 seconds. And then we played it, and we looked at each other. We were like,
yeah.
How did we make it through that one?
So that's kind of what we do live, man. We love to kind of keep music fresh and interesting, man. Keep people paying attention.
You got me one night, though. You got me one day in Europe. When we were sitting there walking through the airport, and you were like, I hear the secrets that you keep. And then all of a sudden it got stuck in my head, and it got stuck in yours, and all of a sudden you put it in there, and I was like, is he really playing it? And we rolled it, and it was like, and then all the others was like, I hear the secrets. And I was like, okay, I don't know how that happened, but it was pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
That's what we do.
It sounds like you guys sound very free in the moment when you're on stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's all Delvon's fault.
Yeah, right. Mr. Quote Master over
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like every other line he plays is a
my name is Shaggy. It wasn't me.
I to go that direction when he does it.
Yeah, it's wild. Sometimes I'll be playing for like 15 minutes, just like
Swatchy.
going back and forth. Yeah, and I'm just holding down the pocket. But like, yeah, it's great.
That's basically the whole set.
My first show with them, I was like, "What is happening? We didn't practice any of this. Like, what is going on?" Like, it's just pay attention. And so, but like, yeah, it's a journey. We never played the same song, or we never play a same song like the exact same. Every time we play it, it's different. It's its own form, just because we don't know what kind of mood we're gonna be in. I don't know what Jimmy James quote he's gonna hear in his head, and I don't know how he's gonna respond.
See, poor Dan is like sitting there like.
Dan's
like, hold on!
1, 2, 3,
hold on to your seats!
Trying to catch up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Talent, which for a drummer is kind of hard sometimes.
I'm like, just don't look at us. Just like, hang in there.
One other thing that we like to do is kind of mess with the time. We like to stretch time and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel bad for this cat. We'll just start dragging something way back, and Dan, he's like, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen.
I'm going to stay in the pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's awesome.
I know I can.
That's awesome. So y'all have the new album out right now. I Told You So, and I know there's some new music in the works. I know one of them is a album of collaborations. Is that right?
Yeah, we're working on that, right? We just got out of the studio, kind of recording like the rhythm section tracks to that. But it's going to be called D-Lo 3 and Friends, and what it's going to be is basically the trio. And we're gonna start inviting guests and like horn sections and singers and things like that that we've met throughout the world since we've been on tour. And so kind of collab with other people. But D-Lo 3 will still be D-Lo 3. This is I just throw that out there. A lot of people think, oh, you guys are adding all this. Nope. We are still going to be Delvon Lamarr Organ Trio. Just this project is just going to be something slightly different.
And I will keep it a secret. I won't even go there. I promise.
He's going to.
Delvon has got a surprise himself up his sleeve on that record, but you have to listen to the record. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Great.
I've heard the secret in a few interviews, by the way. I know about the singing from both of y'all, and
you for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it. Man, thank y'all so much. Is there anything else you wanna share with the people before we're up out of here?
If you haven't gone to the store yet to pick up a copy of I Told You So, it's a beautiful record. We hope you guys dig it. Thanks for all the support and love you guys have been showing us since the release of the record. Really
and also, to let y'all know, we also got signature shirts.
Ooh, look at that. He's covering up his shirt.
I don't.
Like Kevin Hart, say it with your chest.
We have a new merch store that you can customize all your merch, like all your shirts and hats. You can put whatever logos, however you arrange it, however you want. It's completely customizable. So check us out, dlo3music.com. That's DLO, number 3music.com. Get yours today.
There you have it. Delvon Lamarr Organ Trio, man. Thank y'all so much. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, already. This is KEXP live at home. Thanks for tuning in.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.